Guys, I'm going to fire an invite off to Bobby. I'm not exactly sure if he is joining me, but we're going to find out very shortly. Okay. Oops, not there. We're going to put it there. Okay. And boom. Sent. Let's text him. Give him a little nudge. Hold on one second. Phone real quick. Okay. Let me get the chat up here. Chat. Boom. We are off and running. What do I want to share as my main screen? Let's put up TrueDFS.com for starters. What is going on? So apparently Mrs. Sheets tells me I'm not smiling enough nowadays. Well, you know what? Maybe if my pitchers would pitch a little bit better when I had money on them, I might be in a better mood. So don't blame me. Blame guys like Joe Musgrove and Aaron Nola and stud pitchers that can't get out of the third inning. You want me to smile a little bit more. But the good news is that, as my wife would say, the cartoon characters seem to be doing pretty well. Cartoon characters, of course, being the League of Legends players. So if the actual sporting athletes can't do anything, let the video game players get there for me. I'm kind of into it. So I don't know if Bobby's going to be here or not. He's got Sean Manaea. Exactly. There's, you know what? This is baseball in the summer when it's 85 degrees and up. I mean, the ball just flies, and it's just kind of difficult to rely on much to that point. I mean, what do we got tonight, right? We got Gerrit Cole, who, and there he is. Look at Mr. Patterson with the sun.
Trying to hear you here.
Look at all kinds of noise, all kinds of stuff going on.
Out.
I don't know. We're gonna see how that goes.
But it should be okay if I actually could connect. Okay, guys.
Be.
Sorry. Well, what's up to everybody who is out there?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say hi. I'm alive, and I don't have the nasty business that we were worried about. So I'm good to go, except for apparently not internet-wise right now.
He doesn't have the nasty business. That means he doesn't have Toussaint's chalk. Is that what he means? I'm not sure what he actually means by the nasty business, but yeah. So good to see Bobby's in good spirits. We had a little thing on my end too. We had a barbecue before we were dropping my son off at UVA, and a whole bunch of us were there, and one of them ended up with COVID, sending kind of a COVID scare throughout. And of course, everybody that gets it is vaccinated nowadays anyway, so I don't bother even asking. And so we all had to get tested, and everybody came up negative, which is good news. And this weekend was a little rough from a baseball perspective for me, I have to say. I mean, I was able to scrounge out profits in like every sport aside from anything that pays a lot. You know what I mean? I was able to win money in LOL. I was able to win money in freaking my only soccer slate I ever played that one. And baseball was just kind of rough to get any pitcher to like get more than 4 fantasy points. It's very, very difficult. And so now I was about to say we get to a day like today where you get your top pitcher, Gerrit Cole, coming off of COVID. So it's for a 10-game slate, it's apparently become incredibly condensed, which is probably not the way you're supposed to look at a slate like this. So I'm very curious to hear where Bobby's coming out. I saw his original plays, and it's so funny. I look at his plays of the day or whatever his favorite plays, and the team that I had basically like 100%. He didn't even mention, and I guess it was because of ownership and stuff like that. And that was the Astros. And so, I've been really struggling to figure out where I was going to get leverage, and I came up with some craziness. Adam already knows because we were talking about in the Discord. So Bobby, I want you to talk me off of something, and when I mean, force something in, I'm talking about 30%. I'm not like playing 100%, but I was looking for something to do, and I was just thinking from a theoretical perspective. What you want to do when you want to get leverage is you want to get leverage on a chalk situation with something that has a lot of volatility, partially to the upside, right? So I came up with this ridiculous idea of playing the pitcher from Kansas City, the Hernandez. I figured that the Astros are going to be really popular, and the guy throws 100 miles an hour, and his trajectory is on the upswing. Good enough for me. That was my only idea that I came up with, aside from the normal crap. Where are you at on tonight's slate?
So I want to make it clear that I have Astros in a lot of my lineups, but I'm not stacking the Astros. But I want partly due to what you said, and let me know, guys. Thanks for all the kind words, and I hope you can hear me still. But I do think that there is some merit to playing some Hernandez. I'm just not. I didn't quite get there because I didn't feel like I needed to. But I do think that that is kind of like an interesting way to get way off of it. I really think that you can look. We had this situation come up with last time against the Yankees, right? What did he put up in that game? Let me just grab it real quick. Why is it not coming up? Yeah, it's so in Hernandez has only been starting for so long now. What he put up against the Yankees last time? He put up 15. He actually was having a good game. He only had 3 strikeouts. That's sort of the issue you run into. But this guy's put up 15, 22, and 22 in his last 3 starts. Has been really good. Has given up a grand total of 2 runs in 3 starts. And for everyone to play that chalk, I just didn't want to be one of those everyone. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not stacking the Astros. I do love McCormick and his price. I like Brantley's price. I like a price on Diaz and all that stuff. But I just did not getting to them as a full stack personally. Can you guys all hear me? Sheets, can you hear me?
Yep.
Seems like it's only when I talk that it. Oh, okay, good. So what I'm doing stack-wise is I'm stacking the Reds. I understand you've got a ground ball pitcher against them. I'm willing to take the shot at them at home. You've got plenty of lefty guys who I really like. I like the 2, 4, 5, 6 is my favorite. Castellanos, Aquino, Suarez, and Farmer. I do like the Tampa Bay. I'll eat a little bit of that chalk. I love the Dodgers. And then I like the San Diego, Colorado game. Those are the 5 teams I'm now using, but they're mostly weighted towards the Dodgers, the Reds as my main, with 3-mans of San Diego, 3-mans of Colorado, and 3-mans of Houston. Using those popular stacks as complementary stacks is something we've talked about from a strategic standpoint that I really like doing when I like the chalk, when I like it enough, and I like the value enough. That's what I'm doing. That's how I'm getting. Is it different enough? But I think in high buy-ins, it's different enough. I don't think it's the perfect difference, but that's what I'm doing to get with my stacks. Go ahead, Sheets.
So Adam, I'm on to something that you brought up in the Discord a little bit. I got a full 25% of the Yankees on DraftKings. That's the best. The two places I went, I considered different. I do have a full 25% Yankees and 20% of Cleveland. Those are the two. That's the best I could do. The rest, I just Houston and San Diego just stood out too much for me. I figured I'd get a little different with the pitching, and hopefully some construction kind of got me different enough to get there. The one team that I don't have, which look, I'm really interested in somebody from this community doing well. So if I'm not going to have any of the Dodgers, I'll at least know that Bobby will. So this way, if the Dodgers go off, then at least I'll be rooting for somebody. You know, I just personally didn't get to them, but I'm totally half rooting, if you want to know the truth, because I'm telling you, baseball in the last, like, look, you gotta have a short memory, but baseball in the last week has been kind of rough. I got very lucky in one slate leading into the weekend where I got like a lucky home run out of Will Myers at 2% ownership to get me there in like the bigger buy-in, whatever. But like this weekend, I mean, like there was one. Like Saturday, I had the great combination of Musgrove with the Padres, and I think the total points between Musgrove as the pitcher and the 5 Padre hitters maybe equal 20 points between like all 6 of them, or something like that. So I can actually use a little bit of good fortune with the baseball. And
Yeah, I just wanted just to add on a little bit more to some of this stuff. I do think the Dodgers, this is not a bias thing. I think they're a really, really, really good stack tonight. And I think that's a good way to get, you know, it's weird because like, especially on FanDuel, you can play like all these guys who play like the same position and then piece in the lineup also. And yeah, sure, they might individually seem like somewhat popular plays, but to play Muncy, Seager, and Tatis, that 4-man combination is not going to be popular. And I happen to like all 4 of those guys. I really like the Dodgers as a way to get different. And just, you know, it's funny because I actually haven't done, I had a bad Sunday baseball. I actually made another good week at golf. 4 out of 6 seem to be the nuts.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Same thing.
That's crazy, but in baseball, I had 9th in the monster back-to-back days on Friday and Saturday. And on Saturday, I really had a chance. I had about 5 more at bats, and I needed a home run to get me there, but I didn't quite make it. So I actually didn't do poorly in baseball entirely, except for Sunday. But you know, like some people in the community did really well. We had Franco Bank take down a bunch of stuff, and you know, made about 100 times ROI, which is wonderful. So as long as the community is doing well, we're all going to be in good shape and happy about it. So absolutely. I totally agree with that sentiment. Where are you standing with your Padres and Rockies exposure tonight?
Nothing with. I don't think I have much with Colorado. Like 20% on DraftKings. I was talking about this in the Discord. I'm really not happy with my builds tonight. I mean, I have just so much Houston and San Diego. I can't quite figure out what else to do. So I know this is kind of like snatching and hedging or whatever, but you know, I'm really not looking forward to this because I'll tell you, like the other day, like Boston was like really, really chalky, whatever it was. I made money and they all smashed, right? Every one of them, right? Remember where they were really, really chalky? And I ended up making a little money on that slate, but I'm telling, it's kind of hard to explain unless you experience it. But when you have a whole bunch of chalk in your lineups and you see like you hit a home run, it just does nothing for your position. You know what I mean? Like you need to be so perfect with every basic position if you play that way that it is really difficult. Whereas suppose if you have like some 5% dude who gets even like a double and you'll move up like 40 freaking positions. You know what I mean? So it's a weird slate for me. That's why hopefully my Clevelands do something. Maybe my Yankees do something. I actually have 15% of Chicago Cubs, which I guarantee nobody has because they're probably the worst team in baseball. Right?
Totally agree that no one's going to have it. I think that's actually interesting. I think that I actually looked at them a lot for one-offs. They're an excellent team to take like a mini stack from. Was how I sort of had them written up. But yeah. I don't know if I can get to the full stack, but I definitely like that. I mean, this guy, by the way, Schwindel, has got a little bit of pop, you know what I mean? And he's had a journeyman. You know, there's some reason, there's some merit to that. I kind of like that. If you're going to play the chalk, to mix those guys in. And just to go to your point, because I actually did okay with some of the bottom stuff. What I was saying, you know, back when he hit 9th was 3% owned. Duran was, I think he was 2% owned on Friday when he was, you know, because the outfield was loaded. So to try and get different those ways, you know, because I do like San Diego and Colorado. I don't like San Diego as much as most people will. I do have a 4-man stack in my main build, and that's basically all of my San Diego stacks. I don't have anybody above 4-man for San Diego except for maybe in one build that I've got with the bottom of Cincinnati's order. So, but I think that the problem is like I think that you can play the chalk stacks and get different enough with a couple of those plays, or you can try and avoid it and find those other potential home run spots. And I didn't hear you talk anything about Tampa Bay. They seem like they would have been on your radar. I know it's not a great hitter's park, but against Harvey and that horrible bullpen, I feel like they match up really well. And I just didn't hear you talk much about them.
So it's interesting that you mentioned it, because I actually talked about that a decent amount in my video today, specifically to that point, that I really thought going into today that was going to be where everything fell, right? Like, because Harvey, you always match well against Harvey. I was trying to wonder why they didn't pop as much, and maybe because Harvey has been better, that maybe Tampa wasn't quite popping as much. So I honestly didn't get to really any Tampa after all of that. You know where I am, by the way, going to win. I shouldn't say I'm going to win, but what I'm doing on FanDuel is something, again, that I should probably talk myself out of. I have like very little Cole on FanDuel.
I don't have any Cole on FanDuel.
Oh, okay. So it's not that different then. Okay. So, I mean,
Good.
So I have Toussaint. I even have some Garrett on FanDuel. I mean, I'm paying down on FanDuel.
Yeah, I don't mind any of that.
And the only guy I'm paying up for is I have like 15% Montas, which is really no big deal. So
I like Gausman and I like Montas, so I like those are the other two I would use. I like Gausman a lot, who no one's talking about. I don't know. He'll get owned. He's not going to be unowned or anything, but I'm surprised nobody else has been mentioning him much. But just one more thing to add to the stacks thing, like play Trent Grisham at the bottom of the order against Colorado if you're going to stack San Diego. The only thing I'm going to say is Senzatella is really good at keeping the ball. We have a lot of these pitchers who get hit hard enough and have run totals against them. But Senzatella, for example, this guy is like one of the better ground ball pitchers in baseball. Then we've got on the guy for the Cubs against the Reds, which worries me a little bit. But I'm also worried, he can be wild enough to where I can still stack the Reds. And then you've got against the Yankees, the pitcher with the best ground ball percentage against righties in all of baseball happens to be, and it's going against the Yankees. Something to consider if you're going to fully stack the Yankees. That's why I'm finding myself with some. I do think full stacks are the way to go, but I actually think that like getting some 3-3-2s on FanDuel is not the worst idea, and maybe doing a 4-4 on DraftKings rather than a 5-2-1 or something might be a little bit better. Just food for thought.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot more Dodgers on FanDuel than on DraftKings.
That certainly makes sense to me.
Hold on, let me get this real quick. Hello?
Okay, do your thing.
Okay. Yeah. So the other team I'm kind of getting a little of on FanDuel, I'm just kind of looking through this, is the Mets. Maybe a couple lineups over there. Yeah, I feel as though my FanDuel lineups have a better chance to do something than my DraftKings lineups. I shouldn't say better chance. The DraftKings lineups are definitely, you know what I mean? They're definitely going to put up some points. They rate to. But I think the FanDuel lineups look a little bit more, makes me a little more uncomfortable, which is why I like them a little more. Like,
sure.
I'm doing some Pittsburgh over there even, just something different. Because again, like as I mentioned in the intro, like on a big 10 game, I mean, it is a 10 game slate. It doesn't have to be that small. You don't have, It's not just about the Astros and Coors, it's not
I totally agree with you.
So I'm trying my best to force it in a good way.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I totally agree with all that. And I even have, by the way, you mentioned Garrett, by the way, I even have a little bit of interest in Garrett on DraftKings as well. I just think it's worth taking a shot on the guys they haven't seen before. But I mean, it's look, they're patient. It could work out terribly. We don't have that Dodger value because it's too hard to know who they're going to end up throwing out there. So it's just a little tricky tonight. I really wanted to play Griffin Jax today, but I can't do it with an extreme hitters umpire for that guy. He gets a little too wild for me. So that was something I was going to do earlier today.
Somebody in Discord made a really good point, though. I forget who it was, but they said that Jax's best pitch is he has a really, really nasty slider, apparently. And if Cleveland throws out like a whole bunch of righties, I mean, he probably has upside. So
no, he was going to be one of my guys to start today, but then I look at you get the umpire data, and it just worries me too much that and also they ended up. We thought maybe Reyes might not play. He's playing, so their lineup's a little stronger than it was going to be. But initially, I was very interested in him. I just came off of him. I was even considering Quantrill if the things went the right way because I wanted to try and find some weird pitching. Because like you, I liked most of the chalk hitting spots. I just found ways to get a little bit different in spots.
The other thing I want to mention, again, I don't want to get too, gushy or whatever it is, so when you were mentioning Frankie, the guy who like won, 500 times his money, or whatever like that, I mean, people don't realize. I guess some realize. I mean, why we're doing this. Remember, we did this for like a year and a half before charging anything.
With nothing,
And
yeah.
trust me that the money that I'm going to make from this is not going to it's not going to do anything for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you want to know why we honestly do this? So one of our regulars, Kev Tan or whatever it was, like
Mhm.
he won like some soccer showdown or something like that, like for whatever. And the reason why he won is I actually and I said to him, dude, that just made my whole freaking day. And he's like, why? I'm like, you don't get it, do you? It's like it's I don't know anything about soccer, like for example, and I went out and found someone that did, right? The DFS fan. I brought him in, and he was in Discord. And this sub who had never won something in a soccer went in there, and because of the information that we put out there, in part, won. And I don't even know what he won. I don't he posted. I don't even care. The fact that he got the W, because in part of what we were doing. I mean that really. Again, I want to get too gushy about that. Really makes it all worth it. I mean, honestly, and it doesn't matter what you
Absolutely.
cash for. You know what I mean? And there was one guy said, listen, he was like in position in a League of Legends thing to like win some tournament. That if he won the whole tournament, it was like $200, and he had to beat my team. And my team, if I won, it was going to cash for like 3,000 or something. I'm like, listen, if I'm not going to win, believe me, I'm going to do 100% like as much for you as for me, because this is what it's really all about. So any success stories, like just let us know, because this is
Please.
why I want to do this. So anyway,
Love
I
it.
guess
I'm on the same page, even though I may not be, in the same position exactly financially, but I feel the same way. And I've always, one of my favorite things about coaching was always that same exact thing. So I totally agree.
Hey, dude, you're talking.
Anyway,
you're talking. Remember, one of your hopefully one of your better students is part of this live stream. So
there you go. There you go. Right there. Love it.
All right, Rhodey's got.
I'm glad
So enough of that. Rhodey has some questions for you. What do we got?
What do we got here? I am just editing.
Oh, he's saying we on
thing
Chalk
here.
Padres. Who are your top two pitchers? Bobby getting it tonight. So
So I really like I like Montaz a lot on DraftKings especially. I like Tukey, unfortunately. With some chalk that I have to eat with that. I like Gaussman. I think Gaussman is a good pivot off of Cole. I like Cole. One of my bets of the day was for him to go under 9.5 strikeouts, which just seemed like an absurd prop. I think it's dropped down to 8.5 after the early release. But I do have Cole in my main lineup on DraftKings currently. The only place I have him, though. My favorite Padres are, I think that the smartest play is to play Cronenworth at shortstop, because people will, if they're going to make the full Padres, if you're going to in your Padres stack, if you're going to make a 4-man or 5-man Padres stack, try to include Cronenworth and don't play Machado. So that means you're leaving Machado and Tatis off. It's not the optimal way for most points. It's the optimal way if you want to try and get different with your stack. So that's what I'm doing in my main lineup on DraftKings. I really like the Dodgers. I like a few of the Yankee one-offs, and then I also really like Patrick Wisdom, and you could take a Wisdom, Schwindel, Duffy really cheap on DraftKings. I don't mind any of that. McCormick is my favorite play from Houston. He's the high guy I have the highest ownership exposure to from Houston. Connor Joe is the main Rocky that I'm playing. Otherwise, I am mixing in the lefties from the Rockies, McMahon, Blackman, etc., just to try to get off of where people are playing. I also don't think people are going to play Hosmer and Frazier quite as much as the other Padres. So that's something I'm doing to get away from the main shock. But I also really like the Reds, and I do have a couple full Red stacks. So that's sort of my overall stuff. And my Reds, Dodgers are my main stacks, and they're complemented by these Yankees, Padres, Rockies, and Astros. But I'm just not using them as my main. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. I mean, my big buy-in on DraftKings. I mean, this might be taking your concept to a little more of an extreme, but without giving you the whole lineup, which is going to be, I guess, kind of obvious. Like I have a 5-man San Diego with no Tatis, and I have that pair with three from Houston with no Altuve, and I have no Toussaint in that one. So it's I still have access to those games. I'm different. I'm pretty different, but I'm basically throwing out the two best hitters in the game. Being decent Altuve and throwing out Toussaint out of the main lineup as well. Not to mention leaving 600 on the table. So
right,
that is what it is.
it makes sense to me, certainly.
You like Wade Miley?
So I'm using a tiny bit of them. The low K rate with all the righties he's going to face are a little scary, which is why I'm actually a little bit on these high strikeout Cubs. But you could also make the same argument, just contrary, on the other side of it. So I do have one Wade Miley lineup that's got some significant amount of money behind it. But for the most part, I haven't played a ton of Miley today.
Okay.
But my biggest fear is that it's one of those nights where I like the Dodgers and I like the Reds, and I'm looking at it now, and I don't seem to have them together any. So I want to get a couple stacks of just them together, because I really do think that they are the teams that I could see just completely setting things off tonight, that I don't think are going to get owned as much as they probably, I don't know, should is a strong word, but as much as I think they should be. So that's what I'm trying to get in right now.
The other team, by the way, that I talked about in the video, another just a pretty high value team is the Twins. I don't, not that he's like having this greatest year, but you get Miguel Sano at 3,200 for openers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another team that you could screw around with if you want.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Not where I started off, but I definitely can get behind some of that.
Yeah.
Let's see, 7,400. Sorry, I'm trying to find get my pitching straight here. And then the cheap silvers are. God, I have this McCormick I love this kid anyway, and I always play him too much, but I don't mind using him as like a one, like, because nobody's like, what if he's responsible for 30%, 40% of their production tonight, and as a one-off, I think he's a good play. Anyway. I'm trying to justify it to myself as we speak.
How much cold do you have on DraftKings?
Like, he's in my main lineup, and the lineups associated with it, not very much overall.
Yeah, I got a shit ton of him on DraftKings after all that. I mean, it's just even if he doesn't have a great game, he's going to get 20 fantasy points. It's like
yeah, I think he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. I'm not like, I just think there's upside in other guys. He's got a bad fire for him. Like, I'm trying to find reasons to fade him at super high ownership. I do like him coming off COVID. I still expect him to throw a normal amount of pitches. I'm just personally trying to do something different, and I think there's a lot of options. I don't think we need to go with it.
I liked, by the way, the Schwindel call earlier. I didn't even realize he was going to bat so high in the order.
Yeah,
he's hitting second. I mean, that's a lot of value there, I think.
Yeah. I've got Cole and Montas in my main lineup. I've got a Garrett Miley lineup. I've got Gausman, Toussaint. These are my big lineups. And I've got a Montas, Toussaint. Those are all my big ones on DraftKings. And on FanDuel, it's basically just Gausman and Toussaint for me. Feel really good about the Gausman play. And I'm wondering, I actually haven't looked at the recent ownership projection, but I think he's going to be lower owned than he should be. Yeah, if I at first look today, I would have had him ahead of Cole. Him and Cole, I think, should be he's where he should be, I guess. But those are really the only guys. I'm just not using Cole on FanDuel.
So my real leverage spot is Hernandez. I'm gonna have 30% of him on DraftKings, and just see what happens.
Yeah, to anyone who says that, when we were talking about this, me and Ray were doing it the other day, and they were talking about how, you're just recommending chalk, and I'm like looking at, the last 5 guys I mentioned are going to be like 4% owned, and none of them were owned at all. It's so funny because you like sometimes the main stacks that are supposed to score the most runs. Like, look at Cincinnati, for example, on FanDuel. Nobody is playing Cincinnati on FanDuel. Nick Castellanos is going to be 1% to 2% owned on FanDuel because he's 4,400 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
They're going to play these guys on DraftKings. No one's going to play them over there. So my natural thing is just go ahead and play them on FanDuel. You know what I mean? And the same thing you can argue for the Rockies and Padres. Well, they're going to be lower owned on FanDuel in general, but especially the Rockies side of it. No one's playing these guys over there because of the way the lineup's filled out. The Dodgers, who are honestly, as much as I do have them, I feel like I don't have enough of them. And I don't buy any of the ownership projections I'm looking at. I'm seeing Muncy as the highest owned on a lefty-lefty matchup. There's no way that's going to be the case. I would bet Trey Turner would be. But Pollock, Turner, both Turners, Trey and Justin, Corey Seager, Bellinger, whoever makes the lineup, the fact that Dodgers still haven't released the lineup yet, this team is not going to be owned at all. So just consider doing that. Anyway, my daughter just got here.
So Rhodey's asking, he's like, Sheets, you in the big qualifier? No, I mean the 36. I don't play that big. I mean, like if I had a seat, if I want to satellite into that, I did play the 195 like a super into something like that, but I don't play the 3600 or anything like that.
Yeah, I hate the qualifiers personally. I think it's like I said this to Rhodey before. It was cool when I first started playing and I was into it and everything. I think it's the worst value for money. This is what happens, you know what I mean? It's like you try and figure out what you're paying for. By the time you realize it, like your entry fee is basically like 40% of what you're actually getting for the live final. And there's no way I'm going to light money on fire like that. I don't need to make a name for myself anymore. I've done this for a while, and it's just, I get people love the experience, go do it, enjoy the experience, but I don't need that experience. I'd rather just have the money. You know what I mean? If it came between winning $35,000 or a $35,000 package, that $35,000 package, you're only getting about 12.5 to 15,000 in value for the seats. I don't know what they are this year, but I'm not a big satellite guy.
Why? Because they include travel and stuff like that? Is that what happens?
Yeah, it's travel, it's the hotel room, it's the free open bars and all the stuff. Which, by the way, with Grant used to come with me, and in that case, I think we definitely more than drank enough for the most for it to pay off. But it was just not what I'm interested in anymore. Tony's asking if I like the Dodgers pitcher Jackson. I wouldn't even guarantee that Jackson pitches tonight. That's the problem I have with the Jackson thing, or anybody from Dodgers. You don't really know who it's going to be. You really can't say. You don't know if they're going to play or if they're not. So I don't think it's anything. I don't think there's any way to know. I'm not going to speculate with a starting pitching on someone who may not even pitch, and that's what the Dodgers have tonight.
Speaking of speculating on guys with weird inning stuff, what do you think of Fleming?
The problem is they're talking about maybe using him even like as an opener with McHugh behind him. I did like him initially to start today a little bit, but I just don't know, what to do with the Jack and the other guys. And anyway, that's it. But yeah, so that's pretty much where. Sorry, I just was telling my uncle at the bar. I'm gonna run because I'm gonna finish my lineups, and I've got my daughter just popped in, so we're gonna hang out. Sheets, are you guys good? Everybody out there?
I'm gonna chill here for like 10-15 minutes. If anybody has any questions, feel free to fire them up.
Awesome.
And then I'm gonna split as well. But yeah.
All right. Well, good luck to you. Good luck to everybody out there. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.
So what I'm gonna do, just to have some fun here, guys, I want to show what different builds would look like on. You want to go on? Rhodey, I'll send you an invite if you want. You got to give me your email. What I was going to do is just show you what different builds would look like for different types of contests and things like that. Like if I was going to do single entry, what that would look like versus like a big wild 150. When we did 150, and I played 150 lineups, what the build would look like. Oh, okay. I mean, you see right now what. Oh, it's only going to be like 10 minutes, but I'll send you an invite. Like I think I have your email somewhere. If you want to put in a. I don't know where you could do this. Let me see if I can find your email. It's probably be. No. There it is. I got it. I got your email if you want. Here, I'll send it to you, and if you get there, great. If not, no, hold on a minute. Let me get there. Sorry. If I guess this here. I'll see what happens. So invite has been sent. And see what happens. Yeah. Oh, well, there it is. Yeah, I put it there. So I sent you the link. Let's see if you can't find that. Join, and we could have a little more fun. There he is.
Yo.
There he is. Yeah, what's going on, man?
What up?
I'm telling you, that's so goth. I love the whole vibe there.
It's just the Goosebumps. It's just the Goosebumps theme, basically green and black a little bit too.
I like it. K9, yeah, I am playing Toki on FanDuel. I'm just a sucker for that. I know I'm not supposed to probably play those cheap guys on FanDuel, but that's just what I do. Do you play FanDuel? I forget, Rody. Probably not much.
Yeah, I do play FanDuel. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been taking a little bit of time off. I got the live final this week on Thursday. We're flying to Denver for the live final.
That's FanDuel. Where it is? Oh, nice. Yeah.
So there's a big contest, Friday night we got a little thing, and then we're at the Coors game on Friday night, and then Saturday we're back for the big. It's a 6-gamer. It's only a 6-game contest for the live final. So I got to figure out how to beat 124 entries with for $500K. So
that's no problem.
No problem.
So is it so it's a Saturday slate?
It's a Saturday slate. I think it's it might be the day one. I think it's 6-gamer.
Okay.
FanDuel does weird game slates, so I haven't looked at the schedule, so I don't. But it's only 6 games.
And they said they're bringing you to the Coors game as well, or is that just?
The Coors game. We got a Chainsmoker concert on Sunday for FanFest. It's called the first ever FanFest or whatever. So it's a big party and games, and we get to meet a bunch of old Denver football players.
Oh, really?
Demaryius Thomas, Talib, a bunch of guys on the list will be there too. So it'll be pretty cool.
Nice.
I know Bobby doesn't like them, but these qualifiers are getting quite big for the prizes. DraftKings is huge, like $1 million for first. You just got to beat 99 people. I want a ticket to that so bad.
And where is that being held?
They haven't announced it yet, actually. Due to COVID, they've had to move it, I think. That's what the DK rep told me. They haven't finalized it yet.
Well, I would hate to win that and then have it turn out to be in New York,
It's got to be a place where people can put lineups in, though, right?
Right, but I hate to waste all my hotel equity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I mean, they cover all that. I mean, in the ticket, so they've already got how much the ticket's worth. So they already priced it all out.
Oh, okay. Because remember, I don't know if you ever played poker, but back when they used to have super satellites and so the Bahamas stuff and whatever, they would have a $12,000 package of which $5,000 of it was the tournament. And then they'd allocate the other 7,000 toward, but you had to use the hotel. They would price it in a certain way, and if you didn't use the hotel, the money was just gone. So that's why I asked.
Yeah, for the FanDuel event, they gave me money for airfare, so that covered my airfare, and then they cover everything else. So I just show up on Thursday, check into the hotel, and they got it all set up. Get a swag bag, get my Coors game tickets. and then just start going to a different event each day, you know. So it'll be pretty cool.
Well, so there you go. So we have about 13. So I could play a $13 one too. I only have to beat 5,000 people for that one, right?
Yeah, that's a ton of overlaying, and I've been just smashing lineups into that. That's all
We're
I've been doing right now.
doing that right now. We're putting all my lineups into that one. There you go. That's
Yeah,
just been it's
there
just
you
been
go.
done. It's just
Easy.
been done.
Yeah.
$260 just got thrown into the trash can. That's congratulations.
Yeah, basically that's all that contest is a trash can. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what do you got in your not I mean in general, like what are your overall thoughts on the bigger buy and stuff?
Well, I don't know, man. I really love the Dodgers tonight, and I think they're going to get lower ownership. I
Yeah.
mean, I think Bobby was saying that they might come in a little higher, but on DK, I think they're going to be lower owned.
I agree, man. You know, the part of it is the fact that the Dodgers are just so slow to release their lineups and stuff like that.
Yeah, that helps
People
too.
just don't want to play them.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm getting like 5% on some of these guys on the Dodgers. Definitely, that could take down a big qualifier if they go off. That's how I won 100 grand that one time. I played a 5% on Dodgers. They just went off. But I don't know, man. The Chalk Padres, I feel like are going to burn me tonight, man. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I originally had all kinds of I literally had like 100% Houston pretty much. I had like force Houston out. I mean, it looks like the algorithm's broken with some of these guys. I mean, like you're getting like Brantley 3,300, and they, you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of ridiculous. I think that San Diego, I like. Unfortunately, I just like the freaking chalk today. I like San Diego, and I like freaking Houston. You know, I feel as though anything else I'm forcing, but you just kind of have to force it. You know, that's why I invented freaking Hernandez as kind of like a double leverage pitcher. You know what I mean? In case he just happens to miss bat. You know what I mean? Miss the right bats for Houston. We're all going to be popular. I threw in a bunch of him, and but like you said, I mean, maybe Adams on it, maybe the Yankees or something you could do. But it's a tough slate for me today, Jake.
Yeah, I think you can still get different with the Padres. Like we talked Montas and Tucson. I mean, Tucson's going to be chalky, but I don't think people are playing as much Montas coming as of right now. I don't know though. I think he's a little lower owned. Also, I think like Pittsburgh Pirates value is popping. I know I didn't give that stack out earlier in the chat, but they've just popped. Like,
no, I had them all day. They were like my second favorite team, like during my video and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I have a 5-3 Padres, 3 outfield Pittsburgh stack. That's what I'm doing, and that's in a big dollar.
You know what? You could just sit on everything all night and just game stack the Padres Dodgers. I mean the Pirates Dodgers at the end, and just hope for some win, Gus.
Yeah, we could do that. So and the Pirates been hitting the ball too a little bit lately. Like they've been scoring some runs. It's not like everyone's like, oh, their team total is really low. Good, that'll just keep people off them. You know, that's fine.
Oh, no one's playing them. I mean, you can play like Reynolds and Cabrera Hayes and Polanco's free. You know, just don't. I wouldn't expect much out of them. You know what I mean? Like the Dodgers, it's a bullpen game. I mean, they'll hold the Pirates under 4 runs. You know, but maybe you get the right. Maybe you'll get the. You get a home run out of one of them or something. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I hope it's in a big dollar buy-in though, man. It's pricey night for me.
I got it.
I don't know. I built a Dodgers Padres stack with really cheap pitchers, like some of those cheap pitchers we were talking about.
Yeah.
Just like in that $13 qualifier, just taking a flyer, going heavy bat.
You play any of the Jax Garnett and those guys?
Yeah, I got a little Garnett in a couple of builds.
Yeah.
I got Jackson a build. I got that. I got to watch and see if that Jackson, we got confirmation on Jackson yet, that 4K guy?
No,
nothing on him yet. I also got that Steely. I know a lot of people like the Reds, but I mean, if the Reds crap the bucket, you got Steely at 5.4. If these guys get you 10 to 15 points and none of the top pitchers get over 20, you're freaking good. Okay,
dude, I've got Steely in a couple of FanDuel lineups.
Exactly. Guys, pitching has been awful. Cole, I've watched him be 60% owned and get shelled the one time.
No.
Guys, I'm telling you right now, these high-end pitchers don't score over 20, and you got a guy for $5K, half the price, score like 12 points, and they score like Cole gets like 19.
And then you get
way ahead.
and then you get all the Tatis Machado that you want.
Exactly. That's why I'm having a hard time fading these chalk bats, because I love the Rockies. I love the Padres, and the Rockies aren't popular. I almost thought about going the Rockies. I'm going to be mad when the Rockies go off. I do have a bunch of them sprinkled in, like on the $13 qualifier builds I'm building.
Yeah.
You know, I even just built an Angels lineup to go against Cole, because you know Upton's 2.2K, like Ohtani's 6K, but like those guys go off for 7-8 runs. You might have a winner there, you know.
Hey Jake, you're married, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a rule that you have kids too or no?
3, yeah.
Yeah, so I tell my son, he's like growing up a little bit, so I've been telling him growing up that there's a couple of rules. Rule 1 is keep the ladies happy, right? Rule 2 is if you're thinking of not keeping the ladies happy, see Rule 1, and that's basically, you know, the key to life. So Mrs. Sheets is calling me for dinner, so I'm gonna go. Good luck, everybody, and we will hopefully take it down.